And what is interesting is in this report, it's that it has been done together with researchers from the University of Liège. One is an economist, another is a sociologist, and we have done together this work with Caritas International, which of course has the field experience. So we think the results of this report are interesting because the analysis are complementary. Before I go into the details, maybe I thought it was interesting to present who we are. What does Caritas Belgium do? So Caritas is a network of more than 160 organizations around the world. Caritas Belgium is obviously active in Belgium, but also abroad. So abroad we do have development and humanitarian projects, and in Belgium we have about 100 people working in order to assist vulnerable migrants. So when it comes to asylum and migration, so the second line of my little graph, here we come. So we have about 4 reception centers that host mostly vulnerable refugees, so refugees with medical issues, women and single mothers, unaccompanied minors, and other vulnerable migrants. And we do also have services for migrants, services that can go from family reunification issues until voluntary return. Migration in Belgium. In Belgium, about 17% of the total population is born abroad. We use this definition for migration, so people being born abroad. What we do note is that there are a lot of disparities across regions. So migration is far more present in the Brussels region. This makes sense, of course. If you live in Brussels, you are very much aware of that. After Brussels, then it's Wallonia. In Wallonia, it's only 15%, and in Flanders, the migration represents only 12%. In terms of origin of migrants, what is interesting, and maybe what people don't usually tend not to know, is that most of them are Europeans. More than half of them are actually coming from another European country, which is migrants' contribution to the economy. Before I go into this topic, I want to do a few disclaimers, which is very important for an organization like Caritas. First is that we are very much aware that contributions are plural, that there are different types of contribution that can be on the social level, on the political level, on the cultural level, and so on. And all those aspects have been touched upon in our report, but here I'm gonna focus only on the contribution to the economy. Second, and importantly, by no means we believe that the positive contribution of people should be a requirement for solidarity. We do believe in the leave no one behind principle. And by no means we think that positive contribution should overcome the obligation to respect international law. Through entrepreneurship, actually, I know CDE study has shown that migrants are more likely to become entrepreneurs than the natives. It's 16% for migrants that are entrepreneurs and versus 13% for natives. Is that migrants have better information on what is happening on both sides in the country of, in the hosting country and the country of origin, and this stimulates bilateral trade between the two. A well-known fact that migrants experience a lower employment rate. According to Eurostat, for migrants, it's only about 61% of them who are employed, while it's 73% of natives. So this gap is one of the highest gap in the EU. So Belgium is definitely a bad student on the matter. When it comes to migrants, actually we have one of the lowest employment rate of migrants in whole Europe. So, and what is also problematic is that we haven't seen any recent amelioration in that regard. And aside from that, when migrants do work, we do see that they tend to work in more precarious jobs. They tend to be overqualified for their position. They tend to be employed in fixed-term contracts, to get shorter job tenure, to work in cyclical sectors, to earn lower wages, and so on. Why the situation? So, of course, there are many, in the literature, there are many attempts to try to answer those questions. And some people say, yeah, it's because of personal characters that define migrants. such as their age, the level of education, their gender, and so on and so on. So actually, those personal characteristics only explain 1/5 of the difference in this employment rate. First is the knowledge of language, which is particularly difficult in a country such as Belgium, where you have three official languages. There is the recognition of diplomas and competence, which is really one of the biggest issues, especially in Belgium, which is considered by economists as being a very rigid market where there is not so much flexibility and where diplomas or their recognition is important. There is discrimination. I guess I'm not teaching you anything here, but in order to grasp the level of discrimination, there is this very interesting study of Bart, and he made these tests. Basically, it consists in sending CVs to employers, fake CVs, but only to change their name. Nothing else differ. And what he has shown is that CV with a Turkish-sounding name tend to be less likely in order to get an interview. At least, actually, those CVs need to tell 46% more CVs in order to get one job interview.
So the program Duo for a Job was created in 2012 based on two main findings. The first one, I think that Elise talked a lot about it, and it's the fact that young people with an immigrant background or the migration background encounters barriers, specific barriers that needs specific work in order to restore the access to the existing service in the job market. And so we have a high youth unemployment rate in Belgium, but specific inequalities in accessing this job market for the people with a migration background. And a second finding was that in Belgium, we had a low activity rate for people over 50 years old, and that there was a waste of skills and experience, perceived and real, and that there was a lack of transmission of this skills and experience. So, next slide, please. The Duo for a Job was created to meet this double challenge with this very obvious yet innovative idea at that time of linking to these two audience. So Duo for a Job, we match young people with a migration background, job seekers with people over 50 years old who have professional experience in related fields and who can accompany them and support them in reaching their professional goal. So far, Duo for a Job has created more than 3,000 duos. We are active in 6 locations. We created the project in Brussels, but we are now active in Brussels, Antwerp, Liège, Ghent, Mechelen, and Paris. We created last year the antenna in Paris. And as I said, so more than 3,000 duos were created, and we have a team now of more than 1,000 mentors. What are the indicators in terms of employment? 3 out of 4 young people get a job, an internship, or training, and more than 1 out of 2 find a job. And we are happy about the fact that it's not only an added value for the mentees, but also for the mentors, as 9 out of 10 mentors repeat the experience duo after duo.
We made the same, quite the same findings than Duo for a Job and Caritas. The fact that for newcomers, it was difficult to develop a social network. Newcomers have few contacts with locals, and also they have limited knowledges of the spoken language and social-cultural codes. To offer a positive and empowering answer to all those challenges met by newcomers. We decided to do that by develop opportunities to meet newcomers and local in 3 different ways: in groups, in pairs, and through cohabitation. All those programs allow us to create a really huge and vibrant community, which is with more than 4,500 people. For now, we have 700 active members for this year. With all this program, I put some figures in order to have some information. So for the buddies, we create 370 buddies. We propose more than 100 activities. And for the camp program, we form 20 cohabitation. By participating to our activities or to the buddy program, people, it allows people to notice that they have individual potential and skills, and they have the opportunity to show it through our different program. Of course, it increases, of course, the self-confidence. It encourages the language practices through activities, the cohabitation, but also with the buddy program. It lowers prejudice from both sides. Either from the newcomers, but also and mainly from the local sites. And the last one is that it helps newcomers mainly to get moving again. I mean, when they are in the Singa community, it's like a small society, a caring society, and we notice that once they enter the community after, it's much more easier for to take new action in the real life.
I found myself in Brussels airport seeking for asylum. Like, it was the actually turning point of my life. And after staying in a close camp for 1.5 months, I became a refugee here in Belgium. And it has been 1 year already. Actually, I was so motivated to learn the language because I believed that it would be the first step to start my connection with Belgians and the country itself. At the same time, I tried to get equalization of my diploma and follow the integration course. Even I have traveled around Belgium so that I can know it well and I can have topics to communicate with Belgian people. Yeah, after all those processes, I just realized that those things I have done were not enough for finding a job or for a better life. For example, my Dutch was still not enough to express all my feelings and ideas. And with this situation, I have experienced that if Belgians realize Dutch is not your native language, even if your character and abilities are better than others, it's sad to say that, but Belgians tend to choose the Belgian ones. And somehow it makes you tired, like all of those efforts you have put in something seems useless. That makes everything more difficult for me when it comes to improving my Dutch, contributing to the Belgian government, and integrating with the society. Because I do believe that all those things that I have said get better if we have given a chance in an environment to practice it. But being a refugee feels like letting you question yourself again, like you are going out of your comfort zone, you are discovering yourself again, and it's like your own country is not accepting you with your own ideas, but you are being accepted in another country which is not your home. Since you have got this chance, you should motivate yourself and do the things that you should do for your future and for the people around you and for the society. Yeah. But at first I just felt so lonely and hopeless.
But there is two important issues, as you have mentioned before. The first one is language barrier. The second one is recruitment. For executives, the authorities seeking for C1 level of language from ITNA. Most of you know what ITNA is. And a C1 level for ITNA is for 40 years old woman as my wife. She's a doctor. It's nearly impossible to achieve. And I didn't hear someone else at this age level able to obtain this certificate. Recruitment, do not try to recruit anyone else since it's very newcomer, because as a migrant, they are all facing some post-traumatic disorders, in political migrations especially. They should relax and find themselves in couple of years, maybe couple of months. Maybe they can learn their native languages here. It's better for them. And this is also my advice to mentors. Ask them first, how long did you stay here? The first question. Maybe the others is more acceptable.
I graduated in Turkey and I am a refugee. It's not easy to pick up all the documents for the equivalence of the diploma. Now I sent my papers for equivalence and I'm waiting for the results. Another challenge for doing my job is the differences between the educational systems of the countries, because as I told you, I worked 12 years in Turkey, for 5 years in Mauritania, and now a new country. So there are the differences between the education systems. And all I know about the system is what I have learned in the integration courses. And as I told, I have 3 children. One of them is 6th grade in secondary, and one of them is 3rd grade in secondary. As they go to school, we are getting information from them as well. So I don't have much information about the educational system in Belgium. I cannot be guided or encouraged by the social assistants. You know, we have social assistants here in CPS or in Forum, but you know, because of this problem, this COVID problem, we cannot come together. So I think we are not being assisted enough. Now I prepare my CV and motivation letter, and now I'm sending them to the schools for applying a job. In fact, we can say also it's an opportunity is the language, because in a new country we are learning a new language, French. It's really difficult for a newcomer to learn the language in a short time. I think now I'm B1 level. And with your help, I think with the help of this group, we will meet them and make our best to make contributions to this country. And I believe with the good education they get, our children will make much more contributions in the future.
Hi, I am Ömer. Thank you for this organization about Belgian labor market. I had some questions about labor market and opportunities during these events. I got my answers. Thank you, Max Project. Thank you, EPN.
Hello everyone, I am Zeynep. I just joined the Max Project event as a speaker. It was one of the best experiences I had in my life, and all the other informations I got from the other partners was so useful for my future career. This project just made me more hopeful for my future in Belgium. Thank you so much.
My name is Orhan Nurkan. I got plenty of information from the event. I think every immigrant must attend this kind of event because immigrants need mentors to find the right path. Thank you to everyone who added something to this event.